Watch me whip, watch me nay nay. Hi guys, my name is Escarla. Welcome back to my channel. This is my little crafty corner of the universe where I like to document all of my making and really anything that flows from there. It is currently the middle of December already and the new year is right around the corner. I feel like this year buzzed by, but I feel like that's something that we all collectively say every year. Last week I shared my final geo gradient shawl and you guys seemed very interested in seeing my whips, so here I am. I'm a little bit embarrassed about how many works in progress I have. There's a little bit of everything like knitting, crochet, there's some weaving and some spinning. So yeah, let's get into it. I decided that I'm going to go in order of the most recent whips and end with the oldest whips. I tend to be someone that if I'm not excited about something, I definitely frog it. I don't have a problem with that, but a lot of these whips are things that I would want to finish. Just so you know, I do have my notes right here, so you might see me kind of referencing this, and I will give you guys close-ups of everything as well. So yeah, let's get into it. So starting with the most recent cast on, I cast this on literally last week. This is all we have made so far, but this is the Antler Toque by Tin Can Knits, and I am knitting this in Lion Brand's Woolies, and it's the worsted weight. This is going to be a part of my mom's Xmas gift this year, and there are quite a few other projects that I do need to cast on for Christmas gifts. I'm really behind this year with all of my gift knits, but the good thing about living far away from everybody else is that I have the excuse of mailing everything later and giving people their Christmas gifts in January. So that is that. This is a free pattern, and I did mention this in my top 5 free patterns or something, top 10, whatever. I'll link it here. And I really love the pattern. It's super clear, super easy to read, and this yarn is really beautiful. It's like a heathered, dark rose color. So this we will definitely continue working on, and I will definitely film a little clip when it's finished so I can show you guys in the future, but that's number 1. My second work in progress is dun, da, da, dun, da, 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 da. This one's quite a ways along. This is going to be a sweater for my fiance lover boy. I really love this sweater so far. This is Andrea Mowry's Gib 2, the male version. She has 2 versions of the same pattern. I'm knitting this with Lion Brand Pound of Love, and I don't remember the name. I think it's called Hunter Green actually. So this is basically almost ready for the ribbing part, and then all I have to do is knit the sleeves. Definitely a very fun kind of popcorn knit, but with the MCAL taking over my life, I haven't really been able to finish this. But now that that's off the needles, I can definitely finish this. I wanted to finish this by Christmas, which is 6 days away. That ain't gonna happen, but as long as Zach can wear it during the winter, that will make me happy. And I did previously try to knit him a sweater. It was an Arne and Carlos pattern for Rowan, and it was a beautiful sweater. I'll put it here on the screen. But the problem with that pattern was it was written flat, and I can't deal with patterns that are knit flat and that involve color work, because essentially you're knitting the body and then you're adding mohair accents to make these leaves. As beautiful as the pattern was, I didn't want to sit down and figure out how to do it on the round, and I was just getting very frustrated with it, so I just abandoned that. Yeah, so this will be his future sweater, and he can finally claim that I made him a sweater. I have knit him other things before, but really mostly socks. He loves hand knit socks, so. Okay, this next one I started over the summer. I think it was around August of 2023 that I started this. So this is all I have done so far, and this pattern is called Circonette by Kate Davies. And I really loved the pattern when I saw it. This is actually my hand spun. This was my first time spinning a sweater quantity at some point during the pandemic. I think it was like 2020. I learned to knit in 2020 by Lauren from Mother of Pearl on Instagram, and they are an incredible designer and creator, and yeah, they taught me how to knit on a drop spindle, and then from there I became super addicted and got really into spinning. I bought a spinning wheel, and that's kind of where my spinning career took off. I'm really grateful for them because they randomly popped up on my feed like way back when, and I was like, oh my god, spinning. I didn't know anything about spinning until then. So yeah, so I ended up spinning a sweater's quantity of this Corriedale fiber. It's from Paradise Fibers, and it is dyed this really pretty, how would you call this? Like a really muted purpley color. To be honest, I don't know if this is the most complimentary color for me, but it's my handspun, so I have to use it somehow. Initially, I was gonna use this handspun to knit another Andrea Mowry design. I can't remember the name of it, so I'll put it here, but it's a pattern that's knit held together with mohair. And essentially for that pattern, you're supposed to hold a fingering weight with a strand of mohair. As a new spinner, I really didn't keep much consistency in terms of making this a fingering weight. And I was also spinning on my largest whirl on my spinning wheel. So this actually ended up being more of like a DK weight yarn. And now that I'm looking at it, and I knew this beforehand, but I was being stubborn and wanted to do it anyway. But now I don't know what to do because I do feel like the pattern would look way better with a 3-ply yarn, and this is just a 2-ply. So I don't know, you guys let me know what you think. I'm still on the fence about whether I should finish it. I really this is all I have done, so it wouldn't be too awful to frog it. It's not like I have like the full body knit up or anything. But yeah, I'm not sure if I want to continue this. It's a really fun, like all over cabled pattern, which I really want to have in my wardrobe. But I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the right yarn for it. So you guys tell me what you think and give me your opinions down below on whether I should keep this, should I frog it. Number 4. So I showed this one last week at the end of my video, so some of you might have not seen it. But here it is. It is the Aurora cabin shawl by Stephen West. I started this last year, like around January, so this is now a year old. So last year I tried participating in Stephen West's mystery knit along shawl, Twists and Turns. I bought a kit from him and I really loved all the colors, but unfortunately I didn't love the way the design was going after clue 1, so I decided to just abandon ship and not knit it. But I did still want to use the yarn to knit something Stephen West because I spent all this money on one of his kits and they're not cheap. So I decided to knit this guy. I used the 3 colors that I bought from the MCow. I have several skeins of these. And then I used 2 skeins of my Handspun. This I'm really excited about because this was my first fleece that I ever spun, and I did actually manage to spin it quite finely. This is a Corriedale, white Corriedale fleece that I bought in Rhinebeck 2021, I believe. And I processed that fleece, I carded it, and I spun it. And then I dyed it with black walnut holes last fall, I believe. So this was really excited because it was my first fleece that I ever spun, and it was also the first time I ever dyed yarn. So love this. And then I also have this one, which is also my hand spun, also quite thin. This is definitely a Malabrigo fiber, but I don't remember the name of the color, but it's really beautiful. It's purpley and blue and pink. Basically I have 4 solids and then 1 variegated yarn, which is very exciting to see knit up. Definitely not gonna frog this one. And then I do have it in my little bag from last year, which is really cute. It says, "You're a knitter, baby." So yeah, that is that. Next! So I've always wanted like a 70s crochet blanket moment, and whenever I go to the thrift store, you certainly find quite a few of them, but I feel like back in the day, yarn was just way more scratchy and itchy, and a lot of those like vintage crocheted blankets are quite scratchy, which personally I don't mind wearing like a farm yarn or like anything that's like more itchy or like Icelandic wool. Like I really don't have a problem wearing that next to skin at all. But when it comes to a blanket, I feel like I want it to be super soft and cozy and Not only that, I want it to be machine washable. Like I wouldn't want to knit a fully wool blanket unless it's like, you know, like a super wash or something. So this is the blanket. As you can see, I've done quite a bit already. Whee! I want this to be big enough to maybe fit my bed. We'll see if that will work out. But I definitely want it to be big enough to like cuddle in and wrap a few times. So I would say this is probably more than halfway done. And this pattern is, this is the Granny Ripple Afghan by Fiber Spider here on YouTube. And quick segue, I absolutely love Fiber Spider. He's one of my favorite YouTubers here. It's funny because I'm not a huge crocheter, so like I don't really watch a ton of his tutorials, but I really love his vibe, and he was one of my like guilty pleasures during the pandemic. There's a few YouTubers that were my guilty pleasure and like are still very like much a comfort channel for me. But yeah, I love Fiber Spider. I love his vibe. Whenever I'm feeling like, I don't know, kind of sad or whatever, I'll just watch his old live streams and his old like chatty videos. I wish he did more like vlogging and just regular talking to the camera videos, but for the most part he does tutorials. And yeah, I really love his channel. I think he's an amazing instructor. If you ever want to crochet a blanket, I highly recommend using one of his patterns. He really walks you through everything and it makes it really easy. But yeah, I definitely want to finish this as well. And the yarn I used for this was Lion Brand's Pound of Love as well. I really love that yarn. It's a great budget yarn. It is an acrylic yarn, which for a while I was kind of iffy about. I'm definitely someone who is more sustainably minded. So acrylic is, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it, but ultimately it has its place. I love it for blankets and I love it for gift knits because I know a lot of people don't want to deal with having to properly care for their knits, especially if they're not like a knitter or maker. So yeah, I don't discriminate against acrylic anymore. Not that I ever really did, but if I had the option for myself, I definitely will knit with wool or, you know, a natural fiber. So yeah, that's that. I'm gonna throw it. Number 6 is my Night Shift, another Andrea Mowry pattern. And this one I am absolutely in love with. I'm so sad that like, what the hell? Why did I abandon this? Oh, right, so, okay. I think I essentially started this before last year's MCAL and I ended up setting it aside so that I could work on the MCAL, and then I just honestly kind of forgot about it. But this is definitely one I need to pick up ASAP because it's so beautiful. This was actually quite a labor of love. I mean, obviously not the knitting itself, but the yarn, because this is all my hand spun. So a couple years ago when I first started knitting, I joined a couple of fiber clubs so that I can kind of gather up a stash and start working with different fibers and different colors. I was part of 2 clubs. One was the Crafty Housewife fiber club, which I had for a few months and then I canceled because I felt like the colorways weren't necessarily like my style. There were a lot of pastel colors, which definitely isn't my thing. But then I found Nest Fiber on Instagram and I subscribed to hers, as well as Three Waters Farm, which is also a really great fiber club with really great colors, but I think that one just got a little expensive for me. And this is living in this bag that my best friend gave me a few years back. It says Yarn Boss in it. It's pretty nifty because for these types of projects that have a lot of yarn in them, it keeps it all organized, and it also has this like divider inside to keep things separate. But yeah, so here it is. This is all hand spun. So there's, how many skeins? I believe there's 6 skeins of yarn in here. This is definitely one I want to finish. There's just nothing like hand spun. It's so rewarding. It's obviously fun to spin the yarn itself, but to knit with it as well is just so fun. Some of these are a little bit overspun, which is just very plump and exciting to work with. And yeah, definitely another one that I need to pick up at some point. Next up is this little guy. This is the Opulent Plunge by Taylor E. Owen here on YouTube. And I love Taylor's channel. I got really into Taylor during the pandemic as well. And it's so funny because I don't often reach out to people, but when I find someone that like really kind of clicks with me, I just have to tell them how grateful I am for their content. And I did just that with Taylor, and then just over time, I feel like we've kind of developed a friendship. So, oh my God. Well, fuck, I just realized that this ripped. I don't know how that happened. There's like a giant hole in this. Okay, I was gonna say that I want to complete this because, okay, let me gather my thoughts. I'm a little frazzled now that I saw that. Okay, God, this sucks. I really wanted to knit this because I don't have any knitted bras or knitted undergarments. And I know Taylor worked really hard to perfect the perfect bra, and this was it. There's essentially different alterations to the pattern depending on your bust size that you can do. And I think I stopped working on this because I messed up around. I started this at the beach last year or the year before that. I don't know, I don't remember. I messed up a row and that's why I stopped. But now it looks like I'm gonna have to frog it all the way back down to this cable round because this broke. Ugh, I'm so bummed. It looks like this is just gonna sit around for longer because I don't know if I have the mental capacity to deal with this right now, but at some point I want to knit that pattern and get it done. I did knit this in Malabrigo Rio's yarn in, I don't know what color this is, lettuce, green. It's a really soft merino wool, very nice next to skin. And I actually bought this while I was in Philly at a yarn shop. So it was one of those like skeins of yarns that I got while traveling. But that bums me out. I guess we're gonna have to frog this. I probably will just frog the whole thing and start over because at this point I don't even remember what the fuck I was doing. So there's that. WIP number 8. Oh my God, 8 already. This is the Magic Toadstool Socks by Stone Knits. And I only knit one. I went through like a huge sock phase. I do have another sock WIP, which I'll go more into depth with my whole sock journey with that one. But this was my first time knitting like a colorwork sock. Really the only colorwork part is up here and then down here. The pattern has you pick up stitches so that the stockinette section is larger and so your foot can fit better. But to be honest, I don't really like how it feels inside. I don't think my floats are too long or anything like that, but perhaps it's the yarn. I used Cascade 220, I believe. I don't like that yarn, I don't think. It's very like slinky and like it doesn't have a lot of stretch to it. So honestly, I don't think I will ever finish this, at least not with this yarn. There's a possibility just because they're so cute and like I want to wear them, and like obviously I'm like a huge mushroomy fan. I feel like I'm 40% mushroom if you are what you eat. And I just really wanted these socks, but I didn't enjoy this yarn at all. So I don't know if I will have the determination to finish it, but I do like to have it hung up in my office because it's cute. And yeah, so there's this. This will probably just sit around for however long until I decide to knit another one or just accept that it's just a piece of artwork now. Number 9 is this ribbed kind of vanilla sock that I started. This yarn is so pretty. I got this yarn in Virginia when I was visiting my brother. Really beautiful colorway. I believe the yarn is Yarn Bros. He is a Pennsylvania dyer, which now as a PA girly, I appreciate. And the colors are just really stunning. The way the yarn looks is beautiful. I will definitely knit a second sock for this once I remember what the heck I did, because like I was saying previously, I went through like a huge sock phase. I really wanted to perfect my sock making because at first I discovered Arna and Carlo's Color Shifting Perfect by Regia yarn, and I love, it's a self-patterning yarn, so it takes away any effort in terms of like doing some sort of color work project. But the yarn itself feels a little acrylic-y to me. I still love the yarn, but there's just something about the texture of it that I don't love. So I started off knitting a bunch of those socks, and then every sock I made felt like it was too big, or one sock ended up being bigger than the other. My tension was weird. I used to knit them on DPNs, and then I discovered the magic of like those 9-inch circular needles, and that completely changed the game for me, and I was addicted to knitting socks. And then, I don't know, I guess I got bored of it and decided to just start knitting more garments, but I definitely want to finish this sock. I have plenty of yarn to finish the second sock and have more left over. And I did want to mention that the book that kind of changed my sock life was this one. It's called Custom Socks Knit to Fit Your Feet by Kate Atherley. And there's quite a few patterns in here which I haven't personally used, but she has a really amazing recipe for knitting different sizes. She goes like hella in depth over like your circumference and the gauge, and you know, how to determine the perfect size based on your gauge, and a lot of beautiful techniques in here. So if there were one book I were to recommend for sock knitting, it's this one. Highly, highly recommend. But there was also a pattern that I found for free online. I'll put it here on the screen, but that also changed my sock knitting game because her recipe is really, really, really great. I believe she's called Winwick Mum. I don't know. I think she's from the UK, but her sock recipe is also really incredible, and that's a free pattern, and it's on her blog. I'll link that down below if you guys are interested. Her recipe is also really fabulous, and I got this book after the fact as like a supplementary sock book, because it's nice to have reference books like this for when you want to dig deeper into the why of things. But yeah, so that's that. Number 10 is a big one because this one I'm hella excited about. Marie Wallin's Yell. Oh my god, this smells. It smells really bad because this has been literally sitting around for years now. I think it's since I started this in the pandemic, so it was in 2020. Honestly, what is wrong with me? I need to pick this back up because I've knit the entire body basically, and I'm up to the part where I have to, yeah, I think I did start the part with the arms, which the arms are steeked, which is kind of cool. I've never done that before. But yeah, Marie Wallin's Yell, absolutely love it. I need to work on this and finish it. I absolutely needed to knit it because I've just never seen such a beautiful work of art before. And then now since then, since I've been in more of the Ravelry knitting world, digging into patterns, I found quite a few beautiful color work things that I want to work on, but I refuse to do that until I finish this. I would like to finish that one in time to wear it for next year's Rhinebeck because why not? Number 11. What the heck? I made all of these granny squares. Literally, I don't even know. I think it was like 6 years ago, which is kind of wild. I found this blog that had this beautiful granny square motif. It looks like a flower, and I picked these beautiful colors for it. Clearly I've crocheted like quite a bit of these blocks, and then I forgot about it. I was trying to crochet a blanket with these, and I don't know, I forgot about it. I set it aside, I put it in a closet and completely forgot that they existed. So please let me know down below, what do you think I should do with all these granny squares? I definitely want to turn them into something. I don't think I want to make any more of them, even though I have quite a bit of yarn to like continue this process. I don't know what to do with it. It's an acrylic yarn and it's quite soft. Let me know what you would do with all of these granny squares because I have no idea, and I do want to turn them into something eventually. So going along with the square theme, here's a bunch of other squares. Now this was done on my Zoom loom, and they're these tiny little woven squares, and these are all woven with my Handspun. So like I mentioned earlier, I was part of that crafty housewife fiber club thing, and a lot of her colors were very pastel-y, as you can see, and I didn't really want to make like a garment with them, but I did want to use them up. I really perfected my knitting going through her fiber club fibers, and yeah, a lot of these are all a worsted weight. All of these were spun on a drop spindle, so that's really special. I'm totally willing to do more of the Zoom loom things because it's really therapeutic to do, but I just don't know what to do with these squares. I could make a blanket, but honestly, these squares are so small, I think it would take ages and ages to do that. So again, let me know what you would do with these. I have no idea. I actually had way more than these, but I ended up gifting a bunch of them as coasters a couple of Christmases ago. I wanted to just throw in a little extra. I've been meaning to talk more about my spinning on this channel, but to be honest, I just really haven't been spinning the past few months. I do have my Rhinebeck fleece that's still dirty and in a bag, which is not okay. I need to work on that ASAP. And I also have a bunch of fiber that Taylor gifted me on my birthday. So there's just a lot I need to work through. Yeah, so I really haven't been spinning. More of that to come. I think I want to focus on that in January and February since it's like cold, and I love working with my fleeces in the winter time. So more of that to come, but I did want to show you guys what I'm working on my wheel. This is also from Nest Fiber. These weren't part of the club, just like freestanding ones I bought from the site, but they're Andean mountain wool. And on the site, she mentioned that these would make really great socks. I did buy 2 bags of them. They're both like one-of-a-kind colorways, but the colors are obviously the same, just laid out a little bit differently. And for the longest time, I was really afraid of switching to my smaller whirl, and I was just spinning on my large whirl, which really was giving me kind of a heavier fingering weight if I tried really hard, or more of a like DK Sport worsted weight of yarn. I really wanted to challenge myself to knit an accurate fingering weight yarn. So that's where these guys came in. I figured I could make some really beautiful socks out of it. I'll definitely have enough to knit at least 2 pairs of socks or more because each of these bags are 4 ounces. So it'll be a total of 8 ounces of wool. Yeah, I'll show you guys here a clip of what's on my wheel, but there's definitely still quite a bit to spin as well. But yeah, that was all of my WIPs, apparently 13 of them.
We interrupt this program to bring you...
You guys, I forgot to mention that I am also working on this little tapestry that's just been sitting around here for months. Totally forgot to mention that in the video, but here you go.
Now that I've bared it all to you and professed my addiction to starting new projects, I hope to really work through these in the new year and finish quite a few of them. Again, please let me know down below what you would do with those squares. I have no idea what to turn them into, and I want to make sure I make something that I'm gonna love. So I would love to hear your feedback. Yeah, that's it. That's all of my WIPs. I hope that 2024 we can work through some of these and maybe lower the number down to like 6 or something. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. You can also find me on Instagram as Starseed Creations for more like daily updates. I'm not the best at posting on my feed, but I definitely post on my stories quite frequently. I'll be back next Thursday with another video. I hope you're all having a lovely holiday season. I know it's not the best of times for some people, so I'm sending all my love to you. And for all of those of you who love the holidays, I hope you have a wonderful time with your families. I think my next video will be 2024 themed, so stay tuned for that. But till then, I wish you a very happy holiday season. It's almost over. And yeah, happy crafting, happy making. Thank you for being here. Bye. Oh, and please subscribe. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, I really appreciate all of your comments and all of your love so far in all of my videos. I didn't really expect to grow my channel this quickly. I thought it would take longer to reach 1K. So please like and subscribe and stay tuned for more. Bye.